We also need to know how to say goodbye.
Of course.
Because we had an entire conversation. I know where you're from. I know your name. Now I'm tired of hearing about you and I need to leave.
Yeah, it was a whole 30-second conversation.
And you have to go and eat some pastel de nata.
Adeus.
Adeus. Or just ciao.
And don't confuse adeus with adios. This isn't Spanish.
No. That's bad.
Yeah.
One thing is adios, Spanish, and something else is adeus. Adeus.
Adeus. But if that's too hard, then you can just say ciao.
Ciao.
Be careful because that's a little bit more informal, but it'll work in most situations unless you're in a business meeting or something. So now I think it's a good time to do a quick review of some of the phrases we just covered to make sure that you don't forget them. Because that's the only way to remember is to practice Portuguese. Let's jump to the review.
Adeus. Adeus, boa tarde. Ciao.
When you first get to Portugal, your motivation to learn Portuguese is probably pretty high. You pick up some new phrases and start imagining yourself using the language in your new daily life. You probably feel an urgency to learn because you know that if you don't learn the language, you'll probably struggle to adapt to Portuguese life. And then you soon figure out that learning a language is difficult, especially at the same time as adapting to a new country, maybe while working, raising kids, etc. So it's easy to say, I'll just use English today and learn Portuguese once I get settled. Over time, habits and routines become the new default. You start to actively avoid situations that make you notice your lack of Portuguese mastery. You might start to feel disconnected, but at the same time, everything else you have to do in your day feels more urgent than learning Portuguese. If you currently have plans to settle down in Portugal and learning Portuguese is important to you, you should start planning right now what you can put on the back burner in order to focus a large amount of time and energy to learning the language. You'll have to sacrifice some things, but this could be the one thing that makes all the difference in how well you adapt to the country. Whatever your situation is, remember that language learning is full of peaks and valleys of motivation. Be ready to ride these waves of motivation when they do present themselves, because nobody learns the language automatically by osmosis just by living in Portugal. If that initial wave of urgency has already passed by for you, then that's okay. You'll just have to work a bit harder to create that feeling of urgency again in order to overcome this plateau. Try making a list of 5 to 10 goals that right now just seem slightly out of reach, such as carrying a full conversation with a neighbor, or maybe being able to read a Portuguese novel in your area of interest. Break that goal down into manageable steps with a deadline for completing each one. And most of all, you have to forgive yourself for letting that earlier opportunity slip by, because now you can be proud that you're actually going to do something about learning the language.